Hey everyone, how are you all doing? I hope everything is good. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn something new and very interesting. That is a programming language. We will start by understanding what is programming language, then move into its type like procedural, functional and object oriented language. After that, we will talk about memory management, what is it actually means and how data is stored and how handle a program, and we will also discuss about heap and stack memory and how they work and why they are important for efficient of a program execution. And finally we will wrap up by learning about a garbage collection which helps clean up a unused memory automatically. So stay tuned, grab your notes, and let's dive into world of programming. Then we have a first programming language. So first of all, what is programming language? Programming language are a formal language designed to and communicate instruction to a computer. Like programming language are the formal language designed to communicate instruction to a computer. Like you can think of a programming language as a bridge of a humans and a computer. But you think why bridge? Because computer don't understand our normal language like English or Hindi. They only understand binary digits. Binary digits is zero and ones. You know about it. Now imagine if we had give a instruction to a computer directly using a binary digits, that would be a super hard, right? We humans cannot really understand binary easily, like a bunch of a bunch of binary digits, because computer understand only bunch of a binary digits. That's why we need a programming language, and they help us to write instruction in a formal form that we can understand, and then those instructions are converted into binary or a machine code that computer understand. So in short, we have said programming language act as a translator or a bridge between humans and we and computers. For example, if we want to computer add two numbers, then we write an instruction using programming language like Python, C++, Java. Then the compiler or interpreter convert our code into machine code, and the computer performs the operations, adding two numbers. That is how magic happens. All right, so we move on to our types of programming language. Let's talk about a procedural programming language. So what they are? Procedural language follow the sequence of statement or command to achieve a desired output. What does it mean? Basically, it means a procedural programming. Your code run step by step in a particular order or a sequence, like flow of instruction that computer follow on a complete task. For example, let's say we want to add a two numbers in a procedural program. Then we will take a take a first input number, then take a second input number, then add them together and finally print the result. This is a procedural programming language. That means step by step instructions or order in the sequence of our order. And each series of a step is called a procedure, and a program written in one of these language will have one or a more procedure within it. And see that are a clear of a flow or a structure step by step. And to make this happen, we use things like loop, function, statements, or command. And don't worry if you don't know about loops. I will explain them later in this course. Now you might be thinking, don't many language you do this. Yes, you are absolutely right. Language like C, C++, Java, even Python all support a procedural programming concept. So whenever you see a program that follow a structure, step of a flow of a steps to complete task that a procedural programming language. That means procedural programming language is a desired on a step by step instructions in the flow of a structure or got it. Then we have a functional programming language. Alright, now let's look at the next type of programming language. That is a functional programming language. Functional programming language is a rather than focusing on the execution of statements. Functional language focus on the output of mathematical functions and evaluations. Like if you don't know what is functions, that's totally fine. We have a separate section in this course just for functions where we will go into deep into it. But for now, just understand that a function is basically bundle of a code and that we can reuse or modify whenever we need. And it perform a specific task and return a result. Like in functional programming, everything is built around these things. The output depends on the input, what you give. And it doesn't modify anything outside the function. Like in the functional programming, what you give a input, that give a output. It doesn't modify anything. And each function is a reusable module of a code performs a specific task and return a result. Like this, if you and this result is very depending on what you input into the function. Like what you input, then it's give a output. So if you give us some input, you will always get the same output, no matter how many times you run it. And that's one of the key principle of a functional programming. And functional programming also support called first class functions, which means you treat like a function as a variables. You can pass them as an argument and return them from other functions, or even store them into a data structures. Like this is a rather focusing on the execution of statements. And language like Python actually supports some features of a functional programming. So yes, Python can consider a partly functional. And again, if you don't understand right, now don't worry. We will cover functions and functional programming concept in details later on. That's got it. All right, now we have moved to the next type of language. That is a object oriented programming language or a simply OOPS. So this type of a language treat a program as a group of objects and composed of a data and program elements known as a attributes and method. Like object oriented programming is based on the objects and class. And well, an object is something that composed of a data and a method, or simple words in data and action that can be performed in on the data. And in object oriented programming, the two things main are objects and class. And if you don't know about what is object or a class, don't worry. We have a separate section just for a object and class, and we will learn about a object oriented programming in the deep dive into. Like objects can be used within a program in other programs. Like if we write a program in the one project, then we can use into are reused into other programs, other projects. And now one of the best thing is OOPS is a reusability. That means once we create an object, we can reuse it within the same program or even other program without any problem. The main advantage of object oriented programming is it make our code easier to reuse and maintain and scale. Like this make a popular for a complex program as code is easier to reuse and scale. And that's one of the big reason why OOPS become a popular. And guess what? Language like Java, Python, C++ all support object-oriented programming. Now you might say, hey, Python also support a procedural and functional programming too. Yes, you are absolutely right. Python support a procedural, functional, and object-oriented programming style, and Java also support a procedural concept along with its type of object-oriented feature. And we are completely focused on this course of object-oriented programming because we are learning a Java, and Java is based on the object-oriented programming language. And OOPS also include some very important concept are often four pillar of object-oriented programming like abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation. And these are very big topics. We will discuss we will discuss or cover each of them in details in a separate section of in this course. So don't worry about how they are right now. Just remember that these are a foundation that makes OOPS powerful and flexible. You got it? Then we have a all right. Now let's talk about the next concept that is a static and dynamic language. Like so static language the type that cannot be changed once a variable is created. Now if you don't know what is variable, don't worry, we will learn in details later in this course. We will learn details in this course, but for now just understand that static language, once you declare a variable with a certain type data, you cannot change its type later. You can change only a value like this is int a equal to 10. integer data type. A is a variable, reference variable, and 10 equal to value. Like this, int is a data type, A is a reference variable, and reference variable, and 10 is a value. Then in the static language, the type cannot be changed once a variable is created. Like once a variable these are created, then data type is not cannot be changed. If a variable type is defined, then only value of a variable can be changed. Like value, if we add a value here 10, other are 20, then it will be changed. But the types it can types in static cannot be changed. This means if we define an integer, we can only update its value and no other data type can be assigned to it. Like if we here add data type int, then we don't here add a other data type like a string or anything. And here it means int means a variable. A is a type of an integer. This means A can only store a number, not a text or not a other data type. If you later to store something like a string or a character in A, then you get a error because of a static is a fixed type, and static language also provide a compile time checking before, which means they check your code type error before you run a program, and that help catch mistake early and make your program is more reliable. And language like C++, Java are an example of a static language. Like C++, Java, these are a static language. And in the dynamic language, the data type and the value are both dynamic, which means the type and value can be changed. Like here in the data type and value, both are a dynamic, which means both can be changed. For example, a variable that was a previously assigned an integer int can be assigned a string. The type is checking during the runtime. Like in dynamic language, the types of a variable can change during program execution. That means unlike static language, you don't have to declare a variable type like int or a string before use it. The type of decides automatically or at runtime, depending on what value you assign it. Like for example, you assign it a equal to 10 or a equal to hello. These are and in this example, which is a Python, first I hold a number and later it holds a text, and that's totally fine. Python doesn't complain because it's a dynamic language. In this, we have checked the like type checking done at a compile time in the static language and dynamic done at a runtime. And a variable type fixed after declaration and it change any time in the dynamic time. And example like C++, Java and the dynamic language are the Python and JavaScript. And flexibility less flexible and dynamic are more flexible. and error after detection early before running and dynamic in later during execution. All right, now let's move on the very important topic that is a memory management. Memory management makes a computer process more efficient by allocating memory to process and that's need more and releasing memory from application or programs that may no longer use it. This allocation allows the central processing unit to optimize data sending and instruct computer access. Like memory management is a process of allocating and deallocating memory space to different parts of a program when it's running. When it is running. Basically, when you create a variable, an object or a call a function, your computer gives some space in its memory for that. And when the data is no longer needed, that's the memory should be freed up so other program can use it. And that's what memory management done. It helps the computer to use memory in an efficient way. Like memory management is a main thing that is allocating and deallocating memory space in a different part of a program when program is running. And this allocation allow to central processing unit and optimize data sending and instruct program process. Then we have a stack memory management. Stack is used for static memory allocation. Like stack memory is a small fixed size regions and used for static automatically memory allocation with fast and LIFO last in first out access, managing local tools, variable and function calls. Like stack memory is used for a static memory allocation. That means memory for things like local variables, function calls and temporary data and it works on the LIFO like last in first out. But that's which means the last function that called it is the first one is finished and free up its memory. And stack memory is a fast and automatically managed by compiler like fast allocation and when a function ends all the variable in the stack are automatically removed. And one then we have a heap memory. Heap memory is a larger flexible region for dynamic and manual allocation used for objects and data structure with verifying lifetime which is slower to access. Like heap memory is used for dynamic memory allocation, which means memory is created at runtime using a command like new or in a Python just created object and heap memory is larger and flexible but it cannot managed carefully because not automatically frees like a stack and Python and Java heap memory is managed automatically using something called garbage collection and which we will learn about next about a garbage collection. Then we have seen a future of a then like management in stack memory is automatically managed by the system like a compiler at a runtime and he managed by the programmer or a garbage collector and access in stack memory is a fast and in heap memory is a slower. Then we have a allocation type in the static memory. Allocation type are a static like determined at a compile time but in a heap memory dynamic at a in heap memory in using a dynamic and determined at a runtime. and data structure. In the heap memory, it usually for in that is a last in first out. That means the last function that called in the first one to finish and free up memory. And in heap memory data structure, no specific order, like a random access. Then we have a size. Size is a small and fixed in the stack memory, and in heap memory, flexible and large. Then lifespan of a stack memory is a temporary, exist only during the execution of a functions. But in a heap memory can persist for the entire duration of the program. And its stack memory of primary use local variable function calls information. But in stack, but in heap memory object large data structure and data with unknown lifetime. That is a feature of a stack and a heap memory. Then we have a garbage collection. Garbage collection in Java is automatically memory management process that identifies that and reclaim memory occupied by the object that are no longer referred or needed by the applications. And this process is handled by Java Virtual Machine and freezing developer from manual memory deallocations, which is a common task in language like C or C++. Like in simple word, garbage collection is the process of automatically freeing freeing up memory that's no longer being used in your program. And you remember in the last section we will talk about the heap memory, right? That where garbage collection is mainly happens. When we create a object or a variables in heap memory, they take up a space, but sometimes those objects are no longer needed. Maybe they are not being referred anywhere in the program anymore. That's where garbage collection comes in. It automatically detect and such unused objects and remove them from memory to free up space. And this is a help to program run smoothly and prevent memory leaks. Like in short term, we can see garbage collection equal to clean up memory automatically so that your program doesn't waste space or unused object. And different language handle garbage collection differently. Like Java has automatic garbage collector. It is a part of a JVM, and we will also discuss about in the course. And Python does automatic garbage collector using reference counting. But in C++ do not have automatic garbage collector. You do add a manually free memory using free or delete. And garbage collection advantage like prevent a memory leaks and free unused memory automatically. So got it. All right, guys. So that's it for today's session, and we are learn a lot of in this video, starting from what is programming language. Then we explore the types of programming language like procedural, functional, and object-oriented. Then we went into deeper static and dynamic language, memory management, and finally garbage collections. I hope now you have got a clear idea of how programming language work and how your computer handle memory behind the scenes. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to hit bell icon. You will be noticed whenever I upload the next part of this programming series. And in this next video, we will start learning some hands-on coding concept where you will actually see how this works in a real program. So stay tuned and keep learning. Thanks for watching, and baby, I will see you in the next one.